Hello, it's Alyssa Mose, and today I will be covering everything that I learned in Module 5 about eBooks. So first, I'm going to start out with Epic. Epic, I think, could be a very good and useful tool for my early finishers, and maybe even using it as a research for projects and what they want to do to start. But I love that there's a lot of tutorials for kids so they can kind of pick and choose. Like, I want to learn how to draw this today. So I love that. And then there's also just some great book resources too that they can just read about. Like, for example, this one is about colors. And so they can introduce themselves to a lot of different things with Epic. And what I love about it is that it's very accessible. So I searched color theory and all those came up, but I could search up drawing tutorials. And then this is what I'm talking about with the tutorials. Then they can just click on whatever they want to read and go ahead and read it. So I think this would be a very impactful tool in the classroom as a secondary part of emphasis. So I think that this would be very good for that. And then for my IST standard, I would say this is 1.1, Empowered Learner. And then my indicator is 1.1b, Customized Learning Environments. And this is where students can really use their power to create a community on here. And they can also customize what they're learning about. They have the power to choose what they're doing. And then I also have, for my Nebraska standard, I have FA 5.23. Students will use the critical process to examine works of art and learning about themselves and cultures. And then I have my indicator as C, interpret the message communicated by a work of art using knowledge of visual elements, subject matter, and mood. So this can really help the students examine thoughts, feelings, and really get that down. And then secondly, we have Story Online. Right now I have it open to what I searched was artists, and this is what came up. So I thought this would be a good way to have a secondary part of a lesson too, a resource more for me. I believe in the way that I was looking at this website. It can be good for students, but I think that these activity guides, I love that idea, and I have this one open for this book, and it is just really awesome, the different things that come with it, and it even aligns it with different standards. So I think this is a really cool item for us teachers. Yeah, I think it would be good for incorporating text into my lessons. I think that is something that I struggle with thinking about, how am I gonna incorporate different things other than just visual? I want to be able to read these books to my kids and have fun with them too. So then my ISTE standards, so it's going to be another form for engagement for them. And so I believe that 2.5 designer, for me, educator, is perfect, an example for this. I am creating 2.5b, an authentic learning environment, by providing this learning activity. So I believe that this storybook online is going to help me become a much better teacher, in the sense that my lessons can be more engaging by having another format for my students to look at. Alright, so now I'm going to show you Book Creator. So Book Creator is a very cool tech tool. I believe that it is very fun to use just from doing the assignment. So I believe that this would be great for my students. So here's the edit version. I absolutely love the idea of my students designing their own stories. I also really enjoy the fact that there are so many elements that you can add. So here we have images, camera, and then we also have templates, shapes, icons, files that you can bring on. Like, you can add anything that you want. My absolute favorite part of this is probably the record button. I think it really can help my students take it a step further, and they can really implement like how they want their book to be read, like the emotion that they want to express with it. And I believe that there's also the way that it would be an impactful element for us is that I will have, or my students will have the ability for new creative and awesome opportunities for development in the creative process and creative thinking. And so here is my book. My book was on my dream vacation, and I'm not going to play the recording because well, maybe I will. I don't know if it'll work.
Where would Miss Mose go for her dream vacation?
So I just think it's fun to add the audio recordings. I think that was probably my favorite part. But yeah, and it also leaves room for maybe if they just have their drawing, maybe they want students to think about what they were trying to communicate first and then play the recording and say what they were describing or something like that. It could be very useful for like an art portfolio too, even. Okay. And so then there's the end of my book. That's my travel. All in all, I think it is very cool. And so my student standard for this is going to be Innovative Designer 1.4, and then I'm going to combine that with the Indicator 1.4a, Design Process. I believe that my students will just have the best time using this as an opportunity to learn about creative thinking, problem solving techniques, and just overall developing design elements into their work. And so I believe that will be really good for them. And then my tool for my standard is going to be FA 2.1, and all these were based off of grades 3 through 5. I should have said that earlier, but I'm saying it now. And so students will use the creative process to make works of art exploring subjects and themes with a variety of materials. And then my indicator is going to be B, using observation, imagination, and interpretation in creating artworks that reflect a variety of styles, themes, and subjects. I believe that this one fit the most because I feel like I want them to really observe, think about what they're doing, and also I want them to imagine new ideas, and I think this goes great with it. So thank you for listening to my video. I'll see you next time.